every start of the show. It's a good reminder that FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. It's the only sportsbook we use here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And right now, it's winner-take-all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. I went over to Progressive Field this weekend, Jay, and I was in attendance for this game. It's not a parlay, but our guy, Let's Go Guards, bet the under on 6.5 runs in Saturday's 3-2 win for Cleveland. It's not great odds, but he bet 65. A win's a win. He won about $60, took home $119 total. So shout out to Let's Go Guards for that winning FanDuel ticket. If you have a winning FanDuel ticket, make sure you guys send it in to us, and we will make sure we feature it on the show in the coming days. And there's no better place to start today's conversation, Jay, than with the Guardians today, who won 2 of 3 against the Nationals. I know they dropped the final match of the series, but they won the first 2. Steven Kwan came back. You got another great pitching performance from Tanner Bibee, from Ben Lively, Cookie Carrasco in Game 3, not as much. So I'm just going to give you guys the floor, and let's talk about this weekend series against Washington, how the Guards did, and how it sets up for what's ahead against Kansas City.
The one thing that jumped out to me as I was watching the game Saturday, we had an MVP conversation about Hosey the day before. And why isn't he getting more attention?
Yeah.
And we all said, I'm surprised, but I'm not shocked because he doesn't play in a major market. And, you know, there are some guys that are Aaron Judge is having an incredible year. There's some other guys having great years. And the one thing that I said, I think the reason that he is the MVP but probably won't win it is because aside from his tentpole stats, which, you know, on base, average, slugging, home runs, RBI, I said the reason he's the MVP is because he is the team's best player, and every single second of every single game, he's playing harder than everybody else on the field. He is the definition of playing a game with your hair on fire. But he does it in a controlled manner. And I had mentioned specifically, he's the best base runner in the game. And he proved that Saturday, and his move won the game for them. It was 2-2. The ball kicks away from the catcher. At this point, I think it was 2-0. Hosey goes all the way around from second, and alertly realizes that the catcher wasn't going to get to the ball and have a chance to throw him out at home. Now, what's crazy to me is in real time, he's doing the math saying, I got this. That's difficult to do. You have to look at the catcher, see where the ball went, time it all out, and figure out if you can beat the ball to home. It took an incredible inside the base slide to get the bag. I think my favorite part of this is the slide. Watch how late he puts his hand out to touch home plate.
That's how he got up, though.
His hand doesn't come out to touch the plate until he's even with the plate. Why? So the catcher doesn't have a chance to tag him.
He's so far up north, and when he's tagging that base, and you mentioned that, you know, one of the most, I guess, underrated parts of baseball is base running. The fact that, you know, getting a good turn, you know, turning off the inside part of the base, driving, not making a crazy loop, getting in a straight line. And him and Steven Kwan they're just masterful at it. And basically he decided right there, like, hey, I'm going to win this game myself.
Right. He did.
I'm going. He read the tea leaves. He understood what type of time it was. It was like, this is a pivotal play. And he's just good at that. He's just good at understanding, like, when they need to play, what it needs. And his glove, to me, is underrated as well.
I agree, G. I think he's got a tremendous glove. He made a play in the top of the ninth that may have squelched a rally before it began. If he doesn't make that play at third base, then they've got the leadoff runner on. And who knows what happens from there. Washington runs as well as any team, or at least as much as any team in the game. They just run and run and run. Dave Martinez is an aggressive manager. He wants to get guys on, get them over, and get them in. He knows he has to do that because his pitching is,
trash.
Well, especially the bullpen. So you got to do what you got to do. But I just think Jose's baseball IQ shows itself in ways that maybe the other candidates for MVP don't. You know, like Aaron Judge is Paul Bunyan with a bat that hits the ball 500 miles. Jose is a baseball player. He is a pure baseball player. And for my money, I think there's a reason that the Guardians are 39-20. and it all starts with your best player. And what he does is sprinkle down effort to everybody else. Because when everybody sees your best player on the team playing that hard, you don't dare not play hard.
Those are those unwritten intangibles that I always talk about, right?
There's no column for that.
Like energy being transferable. Like he's clearly baseball's most complete player.
I agree.
It's almost like watching controlled chaos when he's out there. Back to the base running, I think that shows when you're a true student of the game, right? It shows your IQ, because before he went from second to home, he had stole second base in that same sequence. And I can only imagine the amount of time that goes into studying the pitcher, studying the catcher, knowing what pitcher is going to throw what and what situation on what count and when to go. And it just seems like he hits all the right numbers at the right time. It's like he's always, checking the right boxes at the right time and knowing what to do. Like, I really think that's baseball's most complete player right there. Bull was right when he said it. He has no flaws in his game.
No, he doesn't. What's really funny to me about Jose is when you look at him, and it's either in street clothes or even standing there on the field, he doesn't necessarily pass the look test. He's short. He's pudgy. He doesn't look like he would be the game's best player, but neither did Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Sometimes in baseball, well, look at what's going on right now in basketball. Like, you got a guy in the finals that if he walked in this room, you'd think he worked on a dock somewhere, loading ships.
Look at the MVP.
Look at the MVP. And it's two different guys, and they don't look anything like what we think NBA superstars look like. And Jose doesn't look like what the prototypical baseball star really is kind of Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Even bigger than the prototypical baseball star. And then here is this guy, diminutive in stature, not huge, but the second he steps on the field, he turns 7 foot tall.
If you go back and play that clip again, watch his secondary lead, right? He gets to get to home because his secondary lead he's already halfway to third before when the pitch is thrown. So he gets a tremendous secondary lead, and now when he gets the ball, he's already turning third base, and that's because being a good base runner is about anticipation.
Sure.
And
Instincts.
And just knowing, like, okay, when that ball took that carom off his glove, he said, oh, no, this is going down to if it hits the backstop, I'm definitely running.
Yeah.
And about halfway through, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going for this. I'm going. Right?
And what I love is, and I'm glad you mentioned the secondary lead, because he did 3 or 4 things in that if he doesn't do, he's out.
He's dead.
The secondary lead is the first. His tight turn of third is the second. He barely hits the grass on third base, and the baseline is only like 1.5 feet or whatever out of the baseline, and he barely hits the grass. That's how tight he makes that turn. That's wide receiver-like ability to pivot and go.
How many people you didn't see turn third base be all in the coach's box?
They usually are. If he doesn't get to secondary, if he doesn't take such a tight turn, if he doesn't take the inside lane on the slide home, and if he doesn't wait until the absolute last second to tap home plate, because if you come in, a lot of guys come in like this.
Yeah.
Well, hell, the catcher has a target before you get to the bag, and it's the arm. He didn't allow him that target.
Late hands.
He kept the arm here until he was right next to home plate, and then he got it. Which is risky, too, because if you're moving fast, if you misjudge that and you reach out too late and you miss the plate, you're out now because the catcher's going to tag you and you miss home plate. So it's just like it's an accumulation of all of the great things that make him the game's most complete player. Mm-hmm. And what's fascinating to me is if you were to take a poll of baseball fans, coast to coast, and ask them who is baseball's most complete player, he'd get single-digit votes.
Yep. Yeah.
Yet when you watch him every day like we do, if you know, you know. And he is absolutely the game's most complete player, in my view.
One thing we missed, too, he got on first by beating out an infield single.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a dribble to third he beat out. Yeah.
Every bag in that run was strictly due to his hustle, his speed, and his base running intelligence. He made that run happen. Now, at the time, it was 2-0. And so if it was 2-2, I'm not sure he tries to come home. I'm not, because hell, you're the tying run and you're 90 feet away, or you're the winning run and you're 90 feet away. early enough in the game, and that was a game too that was really it was a team effort. Ben Lively went out there and pitched his ass off.
And Kwan was back, and he's hitting at the rate he was.
Well, Kwan played
before.
Friday, but not Saturday.
I know, but I'm just saying he's back.
I'm just talking about Saturday was one of those games that if they end up making the playoffs by a game, you can circle Saturday, put it in a time capsule, and come back and look at it, and people would say, wow, how did the Guardians make the playoffs? Just rewatch Saturday's game. They scored the first 2 runs in the first inning because the ball drops between 3 Nationals defenders that converged on it in left center.
Is that when Manzardo got jammed on that inside fastball and he ended up blooping it out to
just a little excuse me bloop to left center, to shallow left center, and third baseman, shortstop, and left fielder all came together. Probably 1 or 2 of them could have caught it, but nobody did.
The broadcast had at their regular shortstop, I think it's Abrams.
If he was in there, he catches it.
He catches that ball.
Yeah, he probably does.
When we gonna just say Fry is good?
Fry's great.
Like when are we gonna when we gonna drop all the other stuff? Be like, oh, Fry, he's nice.
You know what's weird about that, G, is that when are we gonna say that this isn't a mirage?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
When you're getting on base at a 500 clip,
look at the OPS, Jay.
it's
the best in baseball
by a lot.
Yes.
Hey,
and here's the funny thing. Like, again, if you would have asked who are the contenders to lead in OPS this year, he would have been somewhere below number 700.
Do you know who the other leaders in OPS are? Just so people have the context, and I know we always bring this stat up in particular, but the other top 5 guys in OPS.
Was Acuna up there before he got hurt?
I'm not sure, but on ESPN right now, this is 1 through 6. You know what? I'll go 1 through 8 because the other 7 are big names. 1's David Fry.
Yep.
2, Aaron Judge. 3, Juan Soto. 4, Marcell Ozuna of the Braves, who super good if you're not familiar with the Braves.
Very
super good. 5, Shohei Ohtani. 6, Kyle Tucker. 7, Gunnar Henderson, who leads Major League Baseball, or second now because Aaron Judge passed him in home runs. And 8's Mookie Betts. So this guy, David Fry, the guy they got for J.C. Mejia from the Brewers in a throwaway deal, is ahead of Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Marcell Ozuna, Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, Gunnar Henderson, and Mookie Betts.
That's a great
for
stat,
the season
Mike.
in OPS.
Which of these is not like the other? And you know what's crazy is we've just now realized that he's got to be our everyday 4 or 5 hitter.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Yeah.
Got to be in the lineup every day.
Yeah.
That's how good he is.
And you know, I knew he was on something different. When you come in, people don't understand how hard it is to come in and pinch hit and get a hit.
Oh my God!
You've been sitting on the bench cold the whole doggone day, Jay. Your arms is tight. You've been cracking up. You've been laughing with your buddies. You've been laughing with your buddies eating seeds. Though you rapping, you talking to somebody else like you, and then you're up. It seems like you get to walk to the plate. It's 15 degrees colder, even though it's the summer.
Yeah.
And this guy not only does that, he comes in and hits home. I said he's seeing the ball. He's seeing the ball tremendous. The ball has to look like a grapefruit at this point because he's hitting the ball better than I've ever seen somebody who does not play regularly.
Speaking of hitting the ball, how does it feel to make your MLB debut and your first ever big league hit? Is a two-run
double.
2-run double. Like, don't get no better than that.
It looked like he had his whole family in the game.
He was.
Which was awesome. He finished, I think, 1 for 3. Yeah, 1 for 3. But hey, it was his first pitch. I think they showed a stat yesterday on the game. I think it said the last 4 Guardians to make their major league debuts as hitters got base hits on their first pitch.
What?
I think that was the stat they showed.
Manzardo didn't.
He seen a fastball straight down the middle and he took it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, but I'm trying to think who else.
Was it
Jonathan Rodriguez.
Rodriguez did, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure that was the stat, and I thought, wow, is that true?
It's the same question. We have not heard nothing about no Schneeman.
No.
Where did he come from?
He was one of the guys at spring training who was, like, to be honest with you, in David Fry's camp.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to fight for a spot. He can help you as a utility infielder. Did okay in camp, but they didn't keep him on the roster. And then they bring him up, and his first opportunity,
back to Fry.
He delivers.
I had Zach Meisel on with me Saturday when I was in for you. And he said something that really struck a chord. He said, you know who David Fry is? Stephen Vogt. a guy who wasn't highly recruited, didn't go to a big-time school, a guy that can play multiple positions in the major leagues that kind of caught fire later on in his career, and Vogt ended up being a 2-time All-Star. And here it is, you have this particular guy as your manager, and you see him having the success that he's having this year.
He's literally, right now, he's probably going to be an addition to the All-Star team.
Yeah.
Mike, here's my fear, okay? And I live in my fears because I'm a Cleveland sports fan. When does midnight strike? When does he turn back into not Cinderella, the fairy princess, but just the average Joe that everybody thought he was? I hope never. But I got to tell you, I'm not the only one that's skeptical about him being able to. He's clearly not going to maintain it at this pace. He's not going to have an OPS of 1.1 forever.
Yeah, that's not attainable.
He's not going to have a 500 on base percentage forever. He's not going to hit 355 for the rest of his career. There will be a regression to the norm. I hope his regression to the norm puts him in the category of a serviceable everyday player. I love him. I root for him. I just think it's a great story.
But Jay, you unlike any other sport, right? I think baseball lends itself to somebody having 365 days of just the best days of their life. Like, you see it sometimes. Like, you can pick around, right? In 1 year, they all of a sudden
rookie of the year, and then injured, and then off the planet.
And so, can he keep it up? I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to keep it up through this season. Now, the point is, you have a large, track record of a bunch of stats that say he's this type of player, where he's just an average guy or a guy that's just going to fill in and platoon somewhere. But, could he have a year? Sure. Like, it happens a lot. Like,
it does.
And, in basketball, like, you get a couple of games and it's like, okay, you had 30, or, it's like, the Lynn Sanity thing, right? All right, Jeremy Lin, you
That's a very good point. Yeah, Jeremy Lin, for a minute, looked like he was going to change the sport.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the guy changed jerseys as much as most people change socks, and he's done.
He's finished. It's like, nah, we're not going to let you get that off. Like, it's hard. Like, you get hot a couple of games. But in baseball, hey, listen, a bloop single is the same as a hard hit line in right field.
And he's been hitting everything hard, too.
Even if he comes back down to reality, I don't know if y'all familiar with the video game MLB The Show.
Yeah.
It's like he's playing the show right now on the rookie mode, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So if he could continue to play the show on the rookie mode for the rest of this year, I'm cool with it. Like, even if he comes back down to reality, what he's doing right now is a huge benefit. And when you have a manager like Steven Vogt that's becoming very creative in his lineups and finding different places to plug him in at, it just shows like his, the value of importance that he has to this team right now.
I wonder if there's any thought or conversation with the Guardians about making him the everyday catcher, because right now, Bo Naylor, I'm just not sure what's going on. I think he's better than what he's showing, but he's not hitting. He's a hole in the lineup, in a lineup that otherwise only has one or two holes. But, when you throw him in there with Freeman and with Rosario, that's a third of your lineup, and that's too much. You can't have a hole in your lineup where you could throw away 3 innings. If you put those guys back to back to back, those are easy innings for pitchers. And I'm just wondering if Steven Vogt, who knows the position as well as anyone, is giving any thought at all to just rubber stamping Fry as his everyday catcher. And I don't know if you trade Bo Naylor. I don't know if you send him to the minors. I don't know, but I'm just not seeing what I need to out of him.
I don't want to get his name wrong. The kid that made his MLB debut. Is it Schneemann?
Schneemann.
What about him playing shortstop and moving on from Rosario?
I don't know. Again, I think, to be honest, in spring training, Rosario kind of battled with Schneemann and among others, and he won the battle. Uh-huh. So I don't know that Schneemann's going to be this, certainly 3 at-bats isn't going to tell us anything. I don't know that he's going to be an everyday starter. Like, I don't think you can catch lightning in a bottle twice in the same year. Although in 22 they did. Everybody they brought up had these miraculous seasons, and you're like, wow, this organization is deep with talent. We hit on David Fry. I can't imagine Schneemann's going to be another one.
Well, the reason I said that is because from everything I've heard, I was listening to Bull and Zach on the Ultimate Guardian show this morning, and Zach was alluding to the point to where, this is a good, utility guy, a guy that can play second base, shortstop,
he can.
And third base, and possibly spell your guys with the amount of off days that we have coming up. He also alluded to the fact that the Guardians are about to go against a lot of right-handed pitchers.
They are.
And so bringing him up right now and getting him some at-bats will help. I don't know. It's just like I heard Bull make the big bold prediction of Rocchio possibly being an all-star. This dude has been a major disappointment. So I'm just wondering if this is a guy that you...
Bull said that not recently. He said
he said this a while ago.
Right. That was a bold prediction.
And based on like what it's looked like, I'm just wondering if that's a change that can be made. Not as an everyday guy, but
he's not the long-term answer there.
Jimenez, didn't he used to play shortstop?
He could move to short, but the problem is you've got a platinum glove winner and 2-time Gold Glove winner at second. Like, do you mess with that? Like, he's been so good at second. Now, Steven Vogt he is a master at creating lineups that look different every day, and he said platoon to him is a bad word. He doesn't like that word. He doesn't like to platoon guys. But what I've noticed he does is he seems to get everybody regular reps, and it hasn't hurt the team yet. He's not putting the same lineup out there every day like your Yankees and Dodgers and these teams that are steamrolling their way to divisional titles. He's doing it in an unconventional way. I don't know how long he can continue to do it, but I like it. And you mentioned a very smart thing when you said that one of the things that's most impressive about David Fry is he's doing it in some cases, get up and hit. He's cold. One day he's playing here. One day he's in left. One day he's behind home plate. One day he's in DH. He hasn't had that steady rhythm, but he's produced no matter where they've put him. That's a testament to Steven Vogt getting the most out of his guys.
Real quick, before we move on to anything else, we spent 20 minutes on the Guardians and haven't mentioned Steven Kwan yet.
You're right.
Who made his return to the lineup on Friday. He went 4 of 8 over the weekend. He was hitting .355 before hitting the IL. Comes back, hits .500 in his first series back. What'd you see from Steven Kwan? Doesn't look like he missed a step at all in his return to the lineup for the Guardians.
The only thing that really stood out to me, aside from him being great, as always, his first at-bat, I think, was a strikeout. And he had, at the time, the longest stretch between strikeouts of anybody in the major leagues. I think it was 74 at-bats that he had not struck out. He came up, and his first at-bat, he struck out. And I thought, ooh, that's not...
He got caught looking on a pretty good pitch,
Then yesterday, he looked at a 3-2. It was... I almost think that he didn't pick up the baseball. It was an absolute center cut fastball.
He pulled a Frankie.
And he just looked at it. He did pull a Frankie. And I was like, wow. So as great as he was, 4 for 8, 3 for 4 in his return, he had 2 at-bats that were really atypical for Kwan in that he struck out. And the looking, he never does that.
It's funny, like, there are people who have, and we talk about strike zones and umpires, there are people who are aggressive at the plate and really don't take pitches. And sometimes when they take them, the umpire's like, hold on, let me second guess this.
Everybody was looking like, what?
Was this really a strike?
If you took that must have been a ball. You don't do that.
That's not you. And then later in the year, they get the benefit of their doubt. Like anything on the corners, they're like, yeah, that's
you're right.
Kwan.
And pitchers the same thing.
Yeah, right.
When pitchers are pitching around the plaque and they're hitting the edges.
The first one Jay is talking about when he first came back, it was on the corner, and the umpire kind of hesitated to call it a strike because he couldn't believe he took it.
What was crazy to me was on yesterday, his strikeout, if you take the box, that's the strike zone, and you cross it, that pitch was right in the middle.
Yeah,
it was an absolute center cut fastball that Kwan normally jumps all over. The only thing I can think of
got fooled.
Is that he got fooled. He was looking for something that he didn't get, and he got something he wasn't looking for. And he had to do the walk of shame.
Yeah, because when they talk about it in mad science or baseball science. They're like you got 0.02 of a second to decide whether or not you're going to swing or not. And sometimes it takes just your brain to register what pitch it is. And by the time it's there, you're like, listen, I wasn't swinging at that. I had made my mind up.
He wasn't looking for it, yeah. But kudos to him. He had a great return. Now it gets interesting because now the Royals come in. Now the Royals have had a bad, really, 2 weeks. They are, I think, 4-6 in their last 10. The problem is they had a walk-off win yesterday, which sucked because it looked like the Guardians were not going to lose a game, and they stayed 4 games out because the Royals actually walked off their win. I think it was against San Diego in the 9th inning, and that sucks because now they're coming into the 3-game set and there is a day off. They don't play today, so some of that momentum will cool. But I would have loved it if they had to come in here 5 out, 3-7 in their last 10. But this series is going to be a precursor to what the rest of the season is.
Let me ask you a question about tomorrow's game. That pitcher Lugo,
yes,
for Kansas City, is this the toughest pitcher that they've seen
I don't know
far
that
this
it's
season?
necessarily the toughest pitcher they've seen, but he's amongst them. He's got great stuff. It's going to be a test. There's no question about it. He is having the kind of Chris Sale is doing something very similar, although he got beat up Saturday.
He got rocked in Atlanta.
He got rocked hard Saturday. But Sale's having a similar season to this. And I think, didn't Sale pitch in one of the games against the Guardians?
Yeah, they faced Sale.
So I think maybe, but it's right there between Lugo and Sale, I think. But look at his numbers. I mean, these numbers are that's why
crazy.
Kansas City is where they are. I mean, he's 8 games over 500 by himself. So
yeah,
I don't have
the
high
whip
hopes
and the
for the
ERA,
opener.
all the numbers for Lugo are out of this world this year.
This looked like a box score from like 1986, 86, 87.
Yeah, or 68 with Bob Gibson.
Like where you everybody back in the day when they had 20-game winners all the time. Everybody had no more.
That's insane. He's having a Cy Young caliber season for sure. He's probably with Chris Sale 1-2, however you look at it. I can't think of a pitcher they faced that's having a better year than these guys.
I would flip it around too. Like I wonder if he's went up against an offense that's been this hot.
Well, I mean,
they faced Flaherty, who's having an awesome year in Detroit too.
Yeah, what's his record though? He's not. I don't think he's.
No, his record's not good, but his advanced stats are really.
Yeah, what's his ERA?
2.46. So
yeah, I mean these guys are in the ones. Sale and Lugo are in the ones.
I meant to say this.
Well, you're right. He's a good arm too. I don't know. I mean, when you've got 10 decisions, and you're 9-1. Like I'd like to see what his one loss was. Was it 3-2?
Also,
Was
Tanner
it a close
Hawk
game?
of Boston, who they faced twice. He has a 1.85 ERA.
Yeah, he's having a great
it's right
year.
up there. To answer your question,
It's
he's
right
having
up
as
there.
good a season as
Yeah.
any pitcher in baseball this year.
I was sitting there and I going back to Fry and Bo Naylor. Like I wonder if there's a little bit of this. You know, when I played, and you're traditionally a good hitter, right? If you're struggling and you see somebody on your team that is just not traditionally been a good hitter,
right,
and they're killing the ball, you get up to the plate and you start judging, second guessing, like, hold on, what?
How is this guy
How
doing
is
that?
this?
Yeah.
He ain't never been no hitter, and then you get up there and you foul off the good pitches. You're swinging at stuff out of the strike zone. You're not being disciplined, or you hit the ball hard and it goes right to somebody. You think it's a little bit of, Bo Naylor's like, hey, I was coming into this season. I was supposed to be the everyday catcher. This was supposed to be my year, and David Fry can't miss right now. So now I'm going to the plate, pressing a little bit. Like, I got to get this thing going.
To your point, G, it absolutely has to add pressure to Bo Naylor because you're acutely aware of what your backup is doing at all times.
Yep.
You know if you're the everyday shortstop, but there's a guy that plays maybe every third or fourth day behind you, not at your position, but he's playing somewhere, and this guy's hitting the ball all over the yard, first in baseball in one of the most important categories, and you're hitting $180. What's Naylor's average right now?
Give me a second, pull it up.
You're aware of that, and that adds another layer of pressure. He's trying to figure out this major league thing. I think defensively he has.
He's hitting 173.
But to your point, though,
that's not
Jay,
sustainable.
To your point, being top 3 in pitch framing is not enough to keep that position.
So talk about that because that was something that we'd mentioned in our chat.
Yeah, it's like he's a dude. I think Bull City's number 1 in pitch framing. He's probably like 1 through 3 right now, and defensively, he's one of the best catchers in baseball.
As a result, did you see the tweet that I think Bull sent out yesterday or a text?
Jason sent it, yeah.
Jason sent it. It's basically I call them one calls, meaning WON, one calls, meaning that you won the call. So every pitch is either a ball or strike based on the automated pitch count, strike count. And they are like, I think it's 94 one calls on the plus side. So what does that mean? That means that pitches that are actually outside the strike zone are being called strikes.
Yep.
It's not a coincidence. They are so far ahead of the team that's second. I think the second team in one calls had like 27. So it was like 94 for the Guardians, and then I think the Yankees were next at 27. My numbers may be off a little bit. But I replied to the text chain, that's a skill set. Stephen Vogt, being a catcher, has done a wonderful job of teaching all of these guys how to better frame pitches. It's taking a pitch that was caught out of the zone and pulling it in as you're catching it, making it look like one movement.
So I got the numbers, Jay.
It's a skill set.
The Guardians have 94. The Yankees and Mariners both have 71, so they're 23
okay.
ahead.
I thought there was a bigger gap.
And then the big drop happens from those two. It goes from 94, 71, 71 to the Pirates at 32.
Okay, where was Stephen Vogt last year?
Seattle.
Yeah.
And they're tied for second.
This is Stephen Vogt. And here's the thing. When you look at 94 calls, okay, it doesn't seem like, over, what have they played, 50-some games? It doesn't seem like a lot, but if that's 2 a game, and they're in critical spots, and you're getting a called third strike that's a ball 4, I mean, you're changing innings. You're changing games, and that's Stephen Vogt. And Bo Naylor is great at it. They're all great at it. Even David Fry has done a good job, but Austin Hedges is tremendous as well at it. It's the little things that they're doing that's helping them. And honestly, I don't care if Bo Naylor is 100+ on the one call stat. 173. I love Bo, too.
Yeah, I do, too.
I love him as a player, defensively, and as a person. He's a great person. I want him to succeed in the worst way, but I don't know how long they keep him up here because you could be compounding the damage. You're drilling into his head every day he's not a major league hitter. That's not a good message to hear every day. So I don't know if they send him down and try him in AAA for a while and let David catch every day for a month and see what happens. I'm not sure. But it doesn't seem like he's progressing the way he needs to progress.
All right, we're going to take a pivot, talk a little Browns. If you want more Guardians talk, Bull